My in-laws think my job is ridiculous and want me to be SAHM. I, 33F. Decided to quit my last job in the middle of the pandemic and I've been offered a new position for $120K per year and great benefits. I cannot believe my luck. This would have seemed impossible even a few years ago. Thing is, this was my husband's, 33 meters, starting salary for his first job after graduation. He now makes triple that. When we were dating, I didn't know what he did or how much he made, just, something with computers, and when I found out about a year in, it didn't change anything between us. We'd always split everything 50-50. His parents loved me when we met. They seemed to support my career, though it's in a field that's very different from what my husband and Phil do. We had a great relationship till my son was born. Our son is precocious and can't keep still. My mother takes care of him during weekdays till about 3 and then I pick him up. His dad takes over in the mornings and drops him off at 9:30 since I have to start work much earlier. This arrangement works for us. But lately, every time my in-laws are over, they have been making increasingly snide remarks about him not getting enough attention. Let me give you an example. I try to teach my son while I go about my chores. Like when I'm cooking, I ask him to hand me 1 red tomato and 1 green tomato, or, fill the big cup and get the little spoon. He picks things up quickly and it's a joy watching him figure things out. But my in-laws seem to think he's far behind his milestones. The reason? My mill tried to teach him to add but he got distracted and wanted to color instead. I told her he can count to about 15 and maybe put 2 or 3 together, like, take 2 sweets, and that's normal for a toddler who's just turned 3. But she's convinced her son could add without visual aids at that age. And maybe he could. My husband is a really smart dude but my son is his own person. My in-laws have now started hinting that I should quit my job to take care of our kid so he can keep up with other kids. When I told them about my new job offer, they congratulated at me first but then politely said we're going to need it for the childcare costs when my mom can't do it anymore and how much cheaper it'd be to have a stay-at-home parent. My husband and I ignored it. When my son was drawing, my Phil said, "Let's hope the STEM genes are stronger than the art ones," or something like that, and my husband immediately told him to stop. It's been getting worse, so my husband called to talk to them privately. They basically told him I'm being a terrible mother for not sacrificing my ridiculous career in design for my son's future, and they were also starting to doubt how much I could contribute to my son's education since her 1 college degree is practically worthless. My husband told them there's no way in hell I'm giving up something I've worked so hard for and never to speak of me that way again. Now no one's speaking to each other. It's caused a major rift and I feel terrible. I'm really doubting myself. I stay up at night wondering what my son will think of me in a few years when he has calculus problems and I can't help him but his dad and paternal grandparents can. I love my job, but even if I did really, really well, the most I'm going to ever make is about $200K per year unless I start a business of my own, which I'd rather not do. My husband, on the other hand, is constantly fielding off offers from really big companies because of his niche expertise. It would be amazing if my son had the same sort of professional prospects instead of the journey I had. Am I depriving my son? I'm confused and guilty. My husband reassures me that I am and will be a great mom either way, and he's 100% behind me whatever I choose. Please help me, Reddit. And #X200B. More context. My in-laws were high school sweethearts who came from poverty. They left home, got engineering degrees and joined together in entry-level positions. But my mill got pregnant soon after and had to quit to stay home with the baby while Phil worked his way up and is now part of the C-suite of a very large firm. By the time my husband was in school, they were upper middle class and then paid his tuition for STEM degrees in Ivy League colleges. My mill was a really dedicated parent and she encouraged his interest in math and science from very early on. His dad taught him how to play the piano. I come from a low-income single-parent family. My mother was also a devoted parent, but with 2 kids and sick parents to support, she was working around the clock. I didn't get to do any extracurriculars and I've basically been working since I was 12. I went to a small school for an arts degree, got a job right after, and I'm pretty proud of how far I've been able to come. And #X200B. Editing to add some info. I posted this in a comment below and I think I phrased it badly in my post. My in-laws don't watch my son during the week, my mother does. We have dinner about twice a month and that's when they see him. They babysit about once a month or 2 tops. Also, I know 120 kelvins a year is an insane amount of money. I still remember breaking down when my savings first hit 1K like it was yesterday. I enjoy what I do and I'm pretty decent at it, but more importantly, a steady income makes me feel confident. Growing up without that stability sucked, so knowing that I can support all three of us comfortably if needed makes me feel secure. I quit because I was already interviewing with a few places and needed a break. I always intended on getting back to work before this drama and I began doubting myself. I'm going to throw one other thing into this conversation. You going to work sets a great example for your son. Not only does it show that women are capable of having their own career while having a family and marriage, it shows him that not everyone is necessarily on STEM, and that's okay. Maybe his future partner wants a job. Maybe you have a daughter one day. Maybe he just, I don't know, works alongside a woman, and he has learned empathy because both of his parents worked. Girl, you do you. Get that job. Raise your son. And set boundaries with the in-laws. Your in-laws sound like nosy snobs. They're not paying your bills or raising your kid, so they don't get a say in how things work in your family. They're the kind of people that have the audacity to act like a STEM degree is inherently worth more than artistic endeavors, which makes me think that they're very narrow-minded and elitist. Your son doesn't sound like he's behind for his age, at all, and you sound like a great mom who cares a lot about her son. Your husband sounds like he's very supportive, too. Don't let snide remarks from others make you doubt yourself. If you're making $120K and your husband makes triple that, you could easily afford childcare. I would say send him to a good childcare center where they will still work with him and take your mill out of the picture as much. You should absolutely keep your job if you like it and want it and do great things. You have to have a life you're proud of too. Goals and accomplishments are important milestones. These people sound like absolute idiots. You can be a great mother regardless of career choice. Maybe he'll become an architect and need both STEM and artistic skills. Either way, he's 3 years old for God's sake. What 3-year-old likes to sit still doing math problems all day? Your career is very respectable and you sound like a good mother and all-round person. These people may have engineering degrees, but if they can't comprehend the value of art in your career path, they're not as smart as they think they are. On your worries about not being able to help with some homework. My mum is brilliant at English and science and I always went to her for help. But my dad is an architect and loved history and maths, so I went to him for that. We all have our strengths and stretches in life, and one thing I've learned from the parents I work with, and my own, is that you will not always have the answer for your kid. But you and your husband are a team, which means you can help together or help individually. On developmental milestones. Kids hit them at different times and your doctor knows best rather than mean snobby people who think it's alright to put down others. The primary years are confusing as hell, but you two sound like great parents, which is one of the best protective factors. Your in-laws sound like pretentious assholes that I would be no contact with. Your son is hitting perfect milestones, and no normal just turned 3-year-old can do addition. My husband can do trig off the top of his head, but can't spell diarrhea without autocorrect. Some people get math easier than others, while others get language arts easier. Neither is better or worse than the other. Our deal is that he helps with math, I help with law and sciences. Play to your strengths, and definitely encourage your little one's creative side. Whatever his parents think is irrelevant. If you and her husband feel your son would benefit from more time with you too, then sacrifices should be made by both of you to make that happen. Your husband needs to draw the line. Except he also agrees. Also, do you think your son is fine? Not saying they are right, but have you tried to test your son to prove them wrong? I got home last night and my boyfriend is gone. I work what most would call off hours, so I get home around 8 p.m. I get home and normal my boyfriend is around doing something like cleaning, etc. I get home and it's dead silent. His truck isn't parked outside like it always is. So I call him and hear his phone ring on the coffee table. I walk over and next to it is a note. In it he says how he's so sick of relapsing and hating himself for it. He's tired of me watching and that it's not fair to me that he's such a fuck up. He tried so hard to be a man that I deserved but for some reason just can't be, and he's tired of hearing excuses made for him. Thing is, he isn't a fuck up, at all. He runs a very successful business that he built and is the best human I've ever met, for so many reasons. I know he's had drug issues in the past as he's never hidden anything. Hell, trip up every couple months and go on a bender for a couple days, then baseline. He always full stop tells me and takes responsibility. I got so mad at him the last time and told him to promise me it wouldn't happen again. He looked at me with almost hopeless eyes and said, "I don't make promises I can't keep, especially when they pertain to you. I can promise you effort and honesty. That's it, and I'm so sorry for that too." It made me more angry, and I said some things that looking back I shouldn't have. He's had a lot of really scary big things happen in his life lately that he can't control. He's also been in therapy for over a year, working on a horrific childhood and a lot of other things. He ended his note with, "You are the most beautiful thing I've ever seen, and a person that brings nothing but beauty into the world around you. All I bring is destruction, and I won't let that change a person I love with every fiber of what I am now and everything I'll ever be. This isn't your fault, it's mine, and don't you waste a second feeling guilty. This is on me. I love you so much, Sarah, but sometimes loving someone means you have to do so at a distance." I've called his friends, the office, everything, and they haven't heard or seen him. What the fuck do I do? I do think he'd do anything to hurt himself, but I'm extremely worried about him. IDC what he did. I love that man, and we can talk about this. Update: it's been a long night, but Jack and his wife Julie are here. Jack refuses to leave other than to go look somewhere. Julie and I have been talking about how he's been and what could have led to this. I just don't understand why this would even be an option to him, or why he wouldn't say anything. It's so out of character for him. I'm so used to getting little texts through the day letting me know what's going on or where he'll be. The lady at the front desk of his office is an older woman that knows him well, and they talk. I called her and she said he left at about 11:30. She said he looked exhausted and gaunt. She said she tried to talk with him a bit, but he just told her he was leaving, then left. Jack went to his office and got his gym bag thing, etc. We started going through it and I hear Jack say, "Sammy, Jesus buddy," in deeply pained tone. In his gym bag there was like a Ziploc bag full of what I assume is cocaine, a pack of razor blades. I asked Jack if that was a lot and he said yes. Jack looked like he was on the verge of tears, put his stuff down and said, "Sarah, Sammy and I have buried most of our friends because of shit like this. How did I not notice? How the fuck did any of us not notice? Fuck." He went upstairs and his wife said to just let him be alone. Now I'm thinking about it. We let him suffer like this and watched. He's been working hard lately, but he always does. Why didn't he reach out? Did I make him feel alone when I got angry? Julie has known Sam for quite a while. She told me, "Sammy has a lot of demons and deep scars. When he met you and you guys started dating, he started changing. It scared him because he couldn't be angry anymore, and that's what he used to get through things. He'll come back to you because if you're worth that to him, he'll climb the gates of hell if he has to." I hope she's right. I miss him, and God, please let him just be okay. Thanks everyone. I'll update more if you guys would like. Call the police. If he's left his phone and his stuff, he's obviously gone off somewhere to kill himself. Call the police. Tell them this. Give them the details of his truck. Ask them to have a look out for it. Then after that, call everyone you know and ask them if they know where he might be. Start with his parents. Do not waste another minute. Does he have any places he likes to go when alone? Do you have access to his bank, credit cards online? He might have checked into a hotel, or bought something at a gas station that could point you in his direction. Time is of the essence. If he left his phone, it means he has a plan. Is there anywhere close by that is vacant or wooded? Addiction sucks. Especially that shame. I have struggled with it myself and been suicidal because of it. I really hope you find him and that he hasn't hurt himself. Call the police. That note and that he left his truck and phone reads like he's intending to harm himself. I know this doesn't help right now. But it's important for later. Blaming yourself for your reaction to his last relapse isn't justified. And isn't the train he's done, whether he's done, or made whatever decision he's made today. It isn't about that. This is a lifetime of pain and struggle for him. And in his own fucked up thinking right now, he's doing this for you. Not because of you. I hope for the best for you both. And that they'd enough people in your life to keep telling you this isn't on you or about you. People who love addicts always feel this way. It's inevitable. Because no amount of anything you say or do is ever enough to overcome that demon. PLs update us op. Call the local police and report it. Call the police. My 27F boyfriend of 5 years, 28M, hates my hanging out with friend, 31F. I think I need a reality check. My boyfriend and I have been together for almost 5 years and plan to get married. We moved to a new city 2 years ago and I met K, 31F, at the bar that we both worked at. We quickly became close friends, though boyfriend had trouble connecting with her the same way that I did. Kay identifies as bisexual and was in a relationship with a woman for the first year of our friendship, which is important. Though I didn't expressly identify as bisexual at the time. I have always known to an extent that I was, just haven't really explored it much psychologically. Over the last 2 years of our friendship, Kay and I have formed a deep bond and feel very comfortable with each other, which is one of the reasons I think I have become comfortable leaning into my sexuality and accepting myself as bisexual, even though I am in a monogamous hetero relationship. Kay and I have never had romantic interest in one another, but she would joke with me about kissing, which made my boyfriend uncomfortable, rightfully. Last winter I started taking an SSRI for the first time in my life, Lexapro. I was using an online doctor so wasn't being monitored in person, and ended up on a really high dose for me. In short, I became a completely different person. I was drinking heavily. You're not supposed to drink on an SSRI, at all, blacking out almost every time, and heavily dissociating during the day. My relationship suffered dramatically and I was basically a terrible partner, most of the time completely ignoring my boyfriend at home and preferring to go out with friends. I was manic and wasn't able to recognize it. One of these nights I made a terrible mistake while intoxicated. I kissed Kay while we were out at a bar after dinner. We quickly decided to call our own Ubers and head home afterwards, where I promptly, drunkenly, told my boyfriend what I had done and that it wasn't platonic. Soberly I didn't know where that was coming from since I didn't have feelings for Kay, but again I was on Lexapro. My boyfriend took this very hard, as we both consider this cheating. I'm very lucky that he's even still with me, and we nearly broke up. Things have changed a lot in the past year or so, but I'm having trouble severing my friendship with Kay as she's still one of my closest friends. I reduced my dose of Lexapro and my relationship is dramatically better. I no longer feel manic and dissociative, and I no longer black out on a regular basis. Though I understand that Kay and I don't have feelings for each other, my boyfriend is hurt by my actions and would prefer that I end the friendship. I wish it were easy for me to do so and save him the grief, but Kay is probably one of the closest friends I've had in my adult life, and it's really hard for me to just ditch her because of a bad decision that I've made. If given the ultimatum I would never throw away my relationship with this man, but I don't want it to come to that. In a perfect world, they would get to know each other and realize why the other is important in my life. Am I completely insane? What do I do here? Too long did not read. Am I crazy for wanting to retain a friendship with a friend that I essentially cheated on my boyfriend with when I was at the height of my manic episode on an SSRI? Edit: I do not still get blackout drunk. I have reduced my medication significantly as well as the amount that I drink, especially when I am not with my partner. You cheated on your partner and refused to break contact with the person you cheated on him with to save your relationship. The fact that you haven't stopped drinking, and haven't stopped getting blackout drunk, pretty much means your relationship is doomed. Congrats, I guess. Yes, you are insane. Yes, you are crazy. Speaking from experience, your friend is not just a friend, she is romantically interested in you and you continue to put yourself and your relationship in a toxic situation. Imagine if his best friend was a girl who wanted to be with him intimately. Would you be okay with it and with him keeping the relationship after he cheated? He shouldn't have to ask you to end it. It is a telltale sign to him you don't value him or your relationship over your friendship. You cheated. You want to keep contact with a fair partner. Your boyfriend is not comfortable with it. You are downplaying his boundaries. How can your boyfriend be sure you will not kiss her next time you get drunk? What steps did you take to rebuild trust? You still get blackout drunk while taking SSRI, you still hang out with a person you cheated with. Yes, you are crazy and he is sucker. You need to prioritize the relationship that is most important to you. If that is your boyfriend, Kay has to go. You crossed a line with Kay that he will never be okay with. If Kay is more important to you, end your relationship. You can't have both. You've been selfish these last 2 years. Time to make some hard decisions. You are definitely in the wrong here. You hurt him terribly and you're continuing to hurt him by keeping in contact with Kay. Your boyfriend deserves better than you. First issue. What kind of doctor prescribes medication for mental health online? Surely you'd need to evaluate the patient in person. That's a lawsuit waiting to happen. Secondly, was it really the medication or is that just an excuse? Your boyfriend has a right to feel uncomfortable if you continue to meet up with someone after an incident like that. I don't think you can really blame him for disliking her. Thirdly, you've broken his trust, so no, they will never be friends and you are crazy if you think that. YTF, are you still drinking? Wife, 34 female, cheated during the first year of marriage. I, 33 male, am confused on what to do. So ours was an arranged marriage. We were set up by our parents, we met and then decided we liked each other. So we talked for 1 year before getting married. At that time we were living in different countries. After we got married, we couldn't spend much time together as she was doing her PhD and I had to get back to my job. So we spent 45 days together after marriage before I had to leave. Of course we talked every night, but I can understand it's not the same. Anyways, after 15 months she finally got her PhD and joined me. The first few months were a little difficult as it was the first time we were living together and obviously she had left her life behind, but it gradually got better. And by better I mean awesome. We had so much fun together and just became the golden couple in our circle. People used to call us cringy teenage-like couple. And during the lockdown we actually enjoyed and had a lot of fun. We both got fitter as we had started working out together, learned to cook a lot of new dishes, picked up K-dramas to watch. In short, we enjoyed each other's company and didn't get bored or fed up. Anyways, we just started discussing having a baby next year, and suddenly she got very quiet and sad. I asked what happened and she said she has something to tell me. Then she proceeded to tell me that she had cheated on me with one of her fellow PhD trainee after our marriage. It was an 8-month-long affair and she only ended it because she almost got caught by her mother. What happened was that one day she had gone with her AP to a restaurant and her mom and aunt also came there suddenly, so they had to leave. This incident really scared her and made her think. So she ended it with her AP. But what really hurt me was that she admitted she loved AP and was contemplating asking me for divorce so that she could be with him. I was of course devastated hearing all this. She says it was only after living with me for a few months that she realized that we in fact did love each other very much and she would be a fool to throw away such a wonderful marriage. She has been very apologetic and caring towards me after her confession. She has said that if I want I can divorce her and she won't contest for any alimony or assets, but she really wants to make this work. She is begging me to go to couples counseling and see what can we do to save this marriage. She is willing to accept all my conditions in order to save this marriage. But I don't know what I want. One moment I want to end it and next I realize that we did have an amazing marriage the last 3.5 years. So Reddit, any tips for me? And what's been the worst part of this is her admission that she loved her AP. How do I get past this? My logical brain says this marriage is too good to just throw away, but emotional brain is telling me to go scorched earth. I am so confused here. Any advice will be appreciated a lot. Thank you for reading. You may love her, but trust is nearly impossible to build back. You will always have that in the back of your mind if you decide to move on, and it will feel like a brand in the back of your mind. It will pop up at the worst times. You will be having the best time of your marriage and it will sneak up to say, if we are so happy, then why did she do this? I am not saying you can never move on. I am just saying you have to decide if the love you hold for this person is worth a lifetime of you fighting against that beast they created. 8-month-long cheating at 33? I wouldn't tolerate that. I normally would suggest ending things when it comes to cheating, but your marriage is a bit different. I suggest counseling with not being set on ending it or staying with her and let the therapist help guide you through your emotions, thoughts. Don't ask Reddit. We don't know what your values are. We don't know what your marriage is like. We don't know what will make you happy. We can just tell you that if you want to stay together, so far she's doing the right things, confessing unprompted, ending the affair on her own, offering to do what it takes to earn back your trust. So if you want to stay together, there is a chance you can make it work. It's your choice. I really think you should talk to a professional to help you process your feelings and figure out what you want to do. Cheating absolutely sucks and is so difficult to move past. It would be good to have some help in figuring out if that is what you want to do and, if so, guiding you through the long process of forgiveness. There are no tips for this kind of thing. There are just 2 ways to handle it. Just ask yourself 2 questions and be honest with yourself. 1. Can you see yourself getting over this, not just dealing with it, actually getting over it? 2. Do you think she will do it again, however small the chance? Take your time. If you rush for a solution, then you won't find the right one. Trust is much harder to regain than love. I mean, in all honest, an arranged marriage where it takes over a year for you two to even be able to live together? Can you really say that you two were even really a couple in anything but legality at that point? It's still a little shitty, but to consider it fully cheating is a bit much for me. She will not respect if you take her back. It will only get worse. Break it up and move on.